Welcome to Relay.
Yeah.
Regurgitated foreplay. Hello and welcome to the Relay Station. It's been a long time, and times have been long and hard and
Long.
different and purple. There's been a lot of purple. And it's Tuesday, so, hello and welcome to whatever it is we do on Tuesdays.
Is it Tuesday? Don't do this to me, man. Is
No,
it
it's
Tuesday?
not Tuesday. It's not Tuesday.
Is this am I on the wrong stream?
If it's Tuesday,
Darsh.
then I did a remarkably small amount of work today.
You're right. It's like, oh shit, I've got a lot of work to do now in a short amount of time. Shit.
Straight up. No, like straight up, my week has been
Oh.
just completely messed up. So last week I had COVID, and I'm still feeling it. It's been I tested positive the first time last Tuesday the 18th. I started a new job this Monday. Right? Like,
Does
the
it involve
24th?
traveling the world? Because I hear that's a thing when you get COVID.
No.
No
No?
travel.
Okay.
No. But like, I got a new job Monday. I didn't even get my IT for the new job till Thursday. I've been out of it from COVID. I don't know honestly
going on?
who I am or where I am, and there's only
I can
one
tell
way
you
to
didn't appreciate my joke when you announced that you had COVID by showing us the COVID test, and I said, "Oh, congratulations, you're pregnant."
Yes.
It's a
am
great
I
joke,
low?
but usually the person's too sick to really care.
Here,
Which is fair.
maybe this will tell me if this helps, Sargrath.
Oh,
Hopefully
hey,
I'm loud
Sargrath.
enough. I can fix that on the fly now. And yes, Darge, you can see my Tobii eye tracker. I really like the thing, except for what it does to you when you're streaming, because it does this. The flashing. Can you see the flashing, Shiver?
Oh, is
Oh, yeah.
that what I thought? You were just sending us a message from Krypton.
I kind of thought there were like northern lights in the background. They were like, reflecting off his shirt.
Isn't he already in Canada? So aren't they just lights?
Yeah, I guess I could just do this to
Yeah.
like play the game. Thank you, Darsh. You're smart. I'm so not. I'm just. Don't get COVID.
Yeah, don't.
No.
Oh.
Okay, so hello everyone. It's been a couple of weeks. I don't think we've actually done a stream since CitizenCon, just
No, I don't think
from illnesses and absences and COVID and just
Random
all
bullshit.
yeah, just life has been life.
Yep.
But we're back. Just like we said. Did we say that we'd be back? I like saying that. That's one of the saying.
People-
Like one of my
People always expect we'll be back eventually.
eventually. It's
That's
one of
why
the
they
sayings
stopped
that I really
coming.
like. We're back, just like we said we'd be back. I think it's from a Blink-182 concert, actually. Anyway,
Oh,
yeah.
oh, I knew that was immediate sarcasm when Dargenator said that, because yeah, the names are fucked. Mind you, Shiv looks fucking fantastic.
Oh, they are. Oh, hey. Yes. Yeah, it has been a little bit. I didn't even look. I didn't even
If it was
remember.
anyone else, I would say something stupid and try and ruin that person's reputation. But I like Darge too much, and I've got too much respect for him to say anything to ruin his reputation. So I'll just be like,
Also,
yeah,
it's you now.
well, fuck me.
Now you can ruin your own reputation.
Look. It's
Yeah.
it's been so long since I've done this that I actually forgot that we even have names on this. So look.
That's funny.
There. I can fix things. So, we're back. We're going to talk about
Two
some
shits,
stuff.
one stream.
Oh. Oh no. Uh,
We have an
we're gonna
exciting
talk.
episode today.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about a couple of things today. Because one, we're gonna talk about ISC from this week, because this week's ISC was, I think it was really good. It was a really good start to a new season of ISC. A lot of good news, a lot of good stuff. But I think before we do that, we haven't actually sat down and talked since CitizenCon, and neither Eric nor Shiver made it to the CitizenCon stream because
Yeah, I'm
of
very
reasons. Don't be.
I was
It's-
asleep. I'm not sorry. Fuck you.
I don't blame you.
I wasn't in a city, so
Yeah.
problem.
Oh yeah, I didn't say hi to everyone. So hey, hi Harrison Jones and Darj and Sargareth, and hope you're all doing well.
Yeah. Hi everybody.
But yeah, so we haven't talked about CitizenCon. So, I think we should talk about CitizenCon.
How do you want to talk about it? General
I don't know.
impressions, or do you want to go through each panel, or
Don't do general impressions because I can only do like Welsh, Scot, Irish.
You can only do British impressions?
Yeah, that's all that's acceptable. Anything
It's
else
true.
just crosses bad taste boundaries.
I didn't know you had boundaries.
I can't even
I can do an
Italian
impression of a
accent.
naked Kermit the Frog.
Is that just by getting naked? Love it.
Oh my.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're just gonna quickly run through the panel names and say what you thought of the panel.
I'll have
How
to
do you
riff a little bit because there was obviously the.
I'll
big
lie
thing
through my
with the-
teeth.
Is there another way to lie?
I could lie through your teeth if I wear your skin like a hat.
But you'd only be wearing my skin, not my teeth.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I can't fault the logic. You're right.
Thank you.
You have to wear his skull as a face mask.
I'll call it Murray.
Sorry. All right, David, go ahead.
You know what? It's nice to know that it's been a month and a bit, but nothing has changed, and nothing ever will.
This is the first time I've talked to other human beings that speak English for a long time.
All right.
All right,
Planetary Pyro.
Planetary Pyro. So I think we've got two. I don't know about Shiver. I don't know how much you watched of CitizenCon or how much you know of it, because I think you were busy with.
Do you want the honest
the-
answer, or do you want the public relations answer?
Honest answer, always.
I haven't had fucking time. Do you know how much I've been fucking working lately? Jesus!
I know that was going to be my answer. You haven't seen it because you've got like what 87 games that you're running this week.
Feels like it.
I don't think he has an excuse. He has slept. I mean, this is more important than that.
It's got time to sleep. Just hook it to my brains as I sleep. I'll sleep with a tablet
right.
under my pillow and just
You
through
just need to put on the
osmosis.
inside of your glasses and just stare up at your bed.
So I think we have Eric and I have both watched it. We both have somewhat diverging opinions, I think. So we're gonna go through
in
those
spots,
and
only in spots, I think.
in spots.
I did catch a bit of some panels. I watched the investigations panel. It was some time ago, and I've slept more than once since then. So, but
congratulations. That's a good. At least one sleep since then is a new record for you. I think that's good.
Yeah, it's true. Although I have been waking up at like 4 a.m.
Lovely.
Hey Outlaw, thanks for joining us. Yeah, catch the show on the YouTubes. I hope you enjoyed the series on ships. We're gonna have to do an addendum to that series on ships at some point, because I love that series.
And
It's
you
so
still
much fun.
never. It was awesome, and you also never did the Vandal ships, which
Yeah,
you're
we
still
haven't
to
we
do.
haven't done the alien the Vandal ships, which we'll get to. It's just been life, but
We should go around the board and we should get an Eric rating
we should.
Ooh,
as well.
like that.
We should like when CIG do one of their next hiatuses, we should do that. We should like
Yep.
start again from the beginning and do it more quickly, but get everyone's ratings and like keep a running
I like
tally.
I like it.
There you go. All right.
All right.
So Journey to Planetary Pyro. I also in chat, let me know what you all think, because I've had very limited view on what everyone thinks, just because life has been life. So let me know what you think of each of these panels. So Planetary Pyro. Do we want the good or the bad first? Eric,
Bad.
you're the good. I'm the bad.
Well, Shiver says bad, so go ahead.
Okay.
Go for it.
Pyro looks really pretty,
That's
but
not bad.
it's not. That's why I'm getting to the but. I like to always start at the but. If you hit the butt hard enough, it starts everything off really well. Okay.
Let's just
So-
plug it there.
Yeah. I think this is my problem, because I built up expectations for myself for some of what we'd be shown. And honestly, I thought for Planetary Pyro we'd be shown more of what there is to do on Pyro rather than just what Pyro looks like. And I found I wasn't nearly as interested in what Pyro looks like. I thought it was a really, really long panel that had limited gameplay value, and at this point what I really want to see is gameplay value. Looks pretty, but I wanted some meat to those potatoes. Eric?
See, the problem with this one, well, it's not really a problem, but I agree with you. I liked what they showed. I mean, what they showed was good. The planet looked good. We've seen
Yep.
planets before. They look good. They're doing a good job. I know some people had issues because they're kind of rewriting the book on Pyro a little bit. But I mean, that's just going to happen as they go along. It's good. I always expected that to a degree. But my biggest issue, well, I had two things. I do agree with your, like, I would have liked to see, like, okay, here are the planets, and then here are these stations, and then here are the homesteads, and here are the outposts, and here are the,
Yeah.
not just like, here's our progress in making these planets. Now, honestly, my biggest issue with it is that some of the panels were really, really well produced, and this one was not. It 100% looked like it was an ISC segment that they just put in CitizenCon instead, and like the production values weren't great, and I think they could have done better. Also, they recorded it a month before CitizenCon, which also seemed weird. But yeah, I mean, I didn't dislike any of it. It just was not quite. It was one of the panels I rated lower because I thought that it was sort of lackluster.
So, I did catch a bit of it, and I think it can be summed up as a beautiful, vast wasteland.
Yeah. Currently, yeah.
No
Absolutely.
offense. It's taken them a lot of time to do it, and it shows, and it's wonderful. But okay, and we know that you are capable of this, CIG. It looks wonderful. It looks glorious, but
Yep. And even I mean,
I'm not trying to
the thing
be
is,
that guy. But
we know that they have stations that are done in Pyro, and lots of them. We didn't.
Well,
get to see
I
any
mean,
of
this
them.
was Planetary Pyro, so they're not going to show off like space stuff, but they should have still shown like landing zone. Like
they could have anyway.
Yeah, they showed off landscape, the terrain, The potential for weather and draw distance it's great, it's wonderful. But why do we want to go there?
The only
Yeah.
exception
You
that I
haven't
have
solved me
in
on
my-
this planet.
the only exception for that is the section on Pyro 3, because I think Pyro 3 is incredible and what they did with it is incredible. So I'm gonna say that was my favorite part of this presentation, and it was awesome. For those who don't remember, Pyro 3 is the one covered in yellow moss, and it looks amazing, both from orbit because it's this huge, like, just swath of yellow across the planet, and also on the ground because they detailed it down to like the tiniest level. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Looks really good.
It's also
but
cool to hear that they were able to crank up, because they had to do this for this planet. They were able to crank up the number of like plants basically in the environment.
Yeah.
They found new ways to just pump that number way up. So that was pretty cool.
all right, so let's move on to the next one, which was investigations.
Investigations?
Yes.
I'm going to start with this one. I have nothing to detract from this one. They said, and it was an early investigation. They were giving us a view into sort of the earliest parts of making gameplay. But even to their credit, they still did have things to show, which is pretty good. But I think the whole idea is really cool, and I like the presentation on this one.
I liked investigations. I really like the idea of it as a gameplay type, and one of the things that I have been saying for a long time is that we've missed CIG showing us stuff from very early on, and it's something that we like to see. So I was really glad to see it from early on, and the thing that I'm most excited for actually is for them to continue showing us progress as it continues to evolve. I don't care where it evolves to, and I've got lots of little like quibbles on the ways I think it should evolve, and like they have to make it so that investigations can be played multiple times and randomize certain things so that it's not a one and done gameplay type. But very, very interested in how they're going to do it. Really like the idea.
I love the idea. Sorry, go ahead, Chip.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say I love the idea that the player gets to decide when the investigation is over, and their reward is basically based on how well they did in their investigation. Yep. They'll still always get rewarded if they do any of the investigation, but you could still accuse the wrong person and all that good stuff. It's not just this like you read all the things and then a little checkbox comes up that says you finished. It's you read all the stuff and then you have to make a judgment call about who done it,
Which is also nice because it might actually force you to read this stuff rather than just
you'll have
in so many games. In so many games, it's just click through, okay, and go on. Anyway, sorry, Shiver?
Right now, in this, what they showed, it's easy to deconstruct and just see it as, step 1 is here, step 2 is here, step 3 is here, step 4 is here, step 5 is here. Oh, there's a red herring, it takes you off to the side, but it takes you to the next step. It's very logical and progressive, which is it's a good place to start. But it's got so much room for expansion of, okay, you've got step A, or step B, or step C, or red herring, and then at some point someone's got to sit there and type out many different steps, many different red herrings, things that have got to lead you astray, things that have got to lead you to, well, perhaps it's this person, perhaps it's this thing, perhaps it's over there, and so on and so on. And eventually you can see it spanning over star systems. And it's got the potential there. It just needs a lot of time invested, and I'm sure anyone out there who has sat there and run a TTRPG is going, oh God, I know what that's like, and it hurts. It's just such a pain in the ass thinking of all this, and now you have to do it in a galaxy. Fuck you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's well, you can never accuse CIG of aiming low.
Yeah.
They're always pushing.
I just don't envy that team that's got to sit there and day in, day out. It's like, oh, another mystery. Okay.
They got to find ways to automate some of that. Like you create the basics, and then so you've got, let's say you break it down to like 6 component sections of the investigation, and section 1 you have 10 different ones, and it picks randomly from the first one, and then that slots randomly into one of the 10 second, like you have to do it that way so that
and
it
you need to have
varies
enough branches that it's very hard to, in a short time span, get the same mission. You know.
Yeah.
With a torpedo burrito.
You know what would be really smart for this too is if and I'm sure they'll do some of this, but environmental storytelling is really awesome, and it would be great if you didn't get some of these missions, you just stumbled into them. Like you're investigating a derelict, and all of a sudden you find, like, you know, somebody with worms growing out of his eyes, and you have to figure out what the hell happened.
It'd also be great if there are parts where, like, there's no data pad to read, there's no anything, but if you look and you think you're done, but if you find it, you can find like someone has scrawled something on the wall and it doesn't actually show up in your mission list, but it gives you coordinates for you to go yourself next. Like break
that would be really cool.
You could find at this time in this sector of space, mystery thing is going to happen, or mystery person is going to appear, and then if you so wished, you could go there and spy on them, confront them, do whatever is appropriate. Things like that make you travel around and make you explore, make you find things. So it all ties into different kinds of mechanics. They could tie it in with science and research if they're going to have that kind of a system where it's like, oh, I managed to create this special chemical that makes pink unicorns appear out of thin air, and you're like, oh, I want to try this, and no, it just turns out it was something that's going to blow up in your face because it was a trap, or was it? That kind of thing. It's got so much potential there for not just a plain mission that is, I've picked this up, I'm going to do this, I've done this, I want monetary reward.
Yep. So I want to move us on to the next one, which was the new Underground. Journey to 4.0, the new Underground. The giant caverns. We actually saw them again this week on ISC. Yep. But
take it away, Dave.
I mean, I think it looks cool, but I think my problem with this segment was the exact same as with Planetary Pyro. It was like, okay, this is a great new location, and they actually answered some of my questions in this week's ATV of like they're gonna place them all over the place on different planets, but it wasn't clear from CitizenCon, like, is this gonna be just one new location? How are you gonna vary it? But also, what's there gonna be to do in it? Like, it's again, it seemed more location over stuff to do,
content.
Yeah,
they were talking a lot in this panel about the location itself and how they designed like what their design considerations were for the underground. The new underground.
Question for the two of you and the two people watching. Do you think that they're doing it this way because there is content there, they just don't want to say what it is yet? Or do you think what we saw is what it is, and they're up to your own interpretations, relying either too much, not enough, whatever, on the players, the testers, whatever you want to call them, making the content themselves at this stage?
I think that, as they talked about extensively in the 2-hour talk with Chris at the end, I think their AI is currently not in a good state, and they just were like, we don't really have much we want to show in terms of like world gameplay because The AI is not working properly right now. And a lot of the ways in which it can get better haven't happened yet, aka server meshing. um,
I mean,
so I think they
if
kind
they
of got
want,
they got stuck with what they were able to show, I think, in some ways, but it would have been nice for them to talk more about gameplay for sure.
and if they want people to go to these places to test them out, to stress test them, to do things, they need something to attract players there. Just having
Yep.
it there, it's sure, it'll attract a couple of people, and then they just go because there's. What do you
On
want
the
me to do
plus
with
side,
this? This is.
they did not aim low with these facilities. They're gigantic. Like
Yeah.
they were talking about
And obviously, there's
they were talking
something
about-
to come.
they were talking about play experiences in there. Basically, they were aiming at an hour, where you spend an hour inside, which is like a significant amount of time for most people. Because and of course you're always gonna have those people who are completionists, and they'll probably take them 2 hours.
So the thing that I want to point out is, so one thing that they've been doing with locations so far, think like the Downed Reclaimer, is they'll fit 2 or 3 different missions into that, 2 or 3 different mission types into that, right? Like find some downed cargo, or eliminate a person, or right? So they've got a couple different mission types. And I think one of my problems actually with that is it's the same location all the time. You just get a different mission for it, and you go to the same location and do that different mission. I would really like to see them, and this isn't just for this new underground location. This is just period. Have all of those missions existing.
Yeah.
Like you can go there because you wanted to kill someone, but while you're killing him and exploring, oh, I found this data pad that has information that
Agreed.
Someone's gonna radio me, and it's sort of hard with the locations they have now because they are small. Like even the Downed Reclaimer, which is the biggest thing we've got, is still relatively small. But if you've got a complex that's going to be this big, fill it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fill it with
Should have
3 or
lots of-
4 high value targets that need to be eliminated, and 2 cutlass worths of cargo that you can get out if you go in a team and bring it all out, and like data that can be sold, and like just fill it with stuff, and then
No, it's absolutely true, and I do expect that that's where we're gonna end up, but we don't have enough of an inside look on what's going on the gameplay side, sort of. I think that a lot of the gameplay stuff is currently held up by work on Squadron. Not necessarily because they're doing Squadron to the exclusion of Star Citizen, but because they changed their development so that they want to finish features for Squadron and then port them to Star Citizen.
Yeah.
So my hope with that is that we might see some very significant steps in the future where it's like we go from where we are now to a lot better, because we're not going to tier 0, we're going to tier 2, right?
Yeah.
Of some of these features. But
Shiver?
But yeah.
We've got the first iteration of salvaging coming. They want people to test that out. Okay, put a load of shit on Pyro just for salvaging, even if it's just temporary. It's going to attract people to Pyro. It's going to have these people be able to test out salvaging, have it in the previous area as well, around Crusader, and then you've got something for some people to do on this new place and testing out this new thing. Yeah, all right, it's placeholder, but the way they've done it, I could be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. It's fairly It is actually fairly simplistic. Of put salvage point A in this list of things to generate on the planet, and then when they need to move on, swap it around, put it in. That was the point of the tools.
Yeah.
To make development as fast and quick and easy and painless as possible.
Mm-hmm.
There's one other thing I agree 100% sure. There's one other thing I wanted to mention about the new underground before we move to the next one. I just I think they really needed to and this is for future Citizen Cons, but I think they really need to watch what they're writing in their like about this section, because when corporations, commerce, and caverns collide is the tagline for the new underground. And but it doesn't talk about commerce at all. They don't talk about how commerce.
They're describing the location.
Yeah, but they're describing the location of like this is a corporation's place, and they showed a little bit how they're going to be able to swap corporations out for branding, which okay, but like I thought from that description that we'd get some indication of commerce working, and like there's going to be flights out of this place and stuff's going to be produced in it, and it's like
I actually think that's exactly what's going to happen eventually,
but don't include it here if you're not going to talk about it is my like
I think that their whole point in making these things as big as they are, with landing pads built in and a lobby, and like also the lobbies are gorgeous. Their concepts for the lobbies are amazing. But having a huge facility like that with big underground industrial things and then a lobby and landing pads, I think these are basically going to be the factories that you see in the future. That the corporations own, that the players run, that type of thing.
Okay, I want to talk about let's move on to the next panel, which was the need for multiple speeds. I'm going to start on this one because then I'm going to run away for 2 seconds. This was the most important panel in CitizenCon, in my opinion.
Can you move your mouse a little bit, please? Where it is right now is sort of triggering me.
Oh, I didn't even realize it shows up. Yeah, okay, sorry.
Thank you. Sorry.
No problem. I think this was the most important panel in CitizenCon. I think based on what they were talking about, it's a huge change to the game and how the game plays and works. I'm really excited to see this in action, the change that they're talking about, and get like the what is the master modes. I don't know. I've got questions still that I hope that this will answer, but I don't really know if it will. Of like, can we now engage Quantum from anywhere, even if we're still in Atmo on a planet, and get out of planets?
They said it multiple times that you can engage Quantum anywhere. Yeah.
I want to confirm that I can now do that in Orison and get out of Orison without taking 80 minutes to get out of Orison. Because right now, that's what it takes.
Yep. I agree. I would like to see a reconfirmation of that, because they didn't specifically say you can do it in Atmosphere, but they did say I want it anywhere.
Yeah, I want it specifically, but the idea to just pick a direction and Quantum is one of the biggest things that the game has been missing. I think this is a huge quality of life improvement, and I liked this panel best because of what it opens up. I'll be right back. Go ahead.
Okay, so a couple things on this. First of all, being able to just Quantum wherever you feel like, within I think they said within like 50,000 kilometers is their current aim for the like distance you'd go. And just being able to straight line Quantum wherever you feel like is huge for exploration. Like, just massive. It's like can't even be overstated how important that is for exploration. Because otherwise, how the hell do you explore? You can't zoom around at 1,000 meters per second. I'll tell you that much. You'll never get anywhere. The other things are hopefully this allows people to Quantum whenever they feel like. It does that is what they said, so I'm assuming that's what it is. I did like that the short jumps, those like ad hoc jumps, are do have gameplay associated with them. You have to keep your ship aligned to your quantum course, or else you fall out of quantum, and I'm sure there might be like damage or things that might happen to your ship if you screw up. It's taking some of that, you know, they'll still need to be gameplay for the longer jumps, but it does give you something to do for the shorter jumps while you're, you know, jumping around.
Do you think that's going to be fun for long, or do you think that's going to get on people's nerves? The fact that I've got to keep moving in quantum, and they might do some compromise of, okay, you can buy computer software or something that you load into your ship's computer to keep it on course, or not.
I think they're gonna leave it because people's complaint before was that there was nothing to do in quantum, so they're like, okay, we'll make something to do.
And sorry, I might have missed this, but is that just for the like aimless jumps? Whereas if you're quantuming to a location, it's going to take you there, and then you don't have to worry about it. So, like, I think that fixes
it. It's only for the ad hoc quantums. It's for the short ones. You have to keep your ship aligned.
I love it.
And like steer your ship and make sure that you are going the right way. I really like it too for the missions where the closest you can get with a quantum jump to a location is like 2,000 kilometers from the from wherever you want to go. Being able to do a really quick quantum hop will be really nice instead of having to just fly without quantum for like 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 minutes. I think it's going to be huge for that part of the game. Also on the combat side, they have been trying for so long to figure out a way to slow combat down without like realistically that actually made sense, because they don't want you to be. They really don't want it to just be fencing.
Jousting.
Basically.
Jousting isn't
fencing. Jousting. That's what I was trying to. That's the word I was looking for.
Jousting isn't fun, and it doesn't really allow for skill. If you look at skilled pilots, they are skilled because they're able to move in with 6 degrees of freedom and rotate, and you can't really do that as like the speeds of battles sort of prohibit that. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. And Taishar. Yes. Anyway,
bless you.
Thank you.
So
I like also that they're getting rid of the shields when quantuming.
There needed to be a compromise somewhere.
Yeah.
So there's your compromise. It doesn't make any sense lore wise, but I don't care. So I understand why they did it. It's a good game mechanic, but it's one of those ones where they're just sort of, you know, just doing it for the gameplay. Yeah. Which I'm totally cool with, because this is one spot where the gameplay is super important. The other thing is they were under a lot of pressure to try and get combat slowed down because the TTK increase is coming up. Yeah. You know, I don't know when, but it's coming. They've been talking about it for a long time, where, you know, you're not really going to see a whole lot of ships blow up. You're going to be disabling ships, targeting specific spots on ships if you can. And it was almost impossible with the speed of combat before. You couldn't target a specific spot on a ship unless it was huge, right? Yeah. And so if you want to be able to just like shoot the engines of a ship, you have to be going slow enough to do it.
Now,
I'm looking forward to this.
One thing I might think that we might see change because of this is turret speeds might have to be lowered. Because turrets are turrets have. If you're going super slow, then a turret is not going to have any problem tracking and destroying you, right? So they might have to tweak turret speeds a bit, but we'll see. We'll see how it actually balances in game, but huge.
Yeah, those turrets are going to be a pain in the neck because they can't slow them down too much, because otherwise people will be like, well, fuck it, what's the point?
Yeah. but they can't.
Yeah, but that's fair enough on something like a fucking Idris. But on your Super Hornet, what is the point of having a turret that's not able to keep up, but also at the same time, it shouldn't be. This is the solution is turret gameplay. That's going to be tricky to balance. It really
You
is,
just,
and
I think you just do a whole bunch of gameplay testing with it and tweak it until people are, arguing the least about it.
yeah, and it also needs to. It needs to be done as a team thing, If you are in the Super Hornet, you've got the pilot, you've got the turret gunner. They need to actually work as a team together to be effective, and that needs to be accounted for as well. It can't just be I am the turret gunner, I turret things. It should encourage team play.
Yeah.
So overall, I think this was not the most exciting thing in CitizenCon to me, but I'm not downplaying this at all, but I think is by far the most impactful of anything they showed on the actual game.
That's why it was the most exciting to me, because I want to see game impact. That's what I'm looking for at this point.
I think my favorite panel was the new underground, because I love those facilities. But anyway,
I want to move this on because we still got a bunch, and then we still have to cover this week's stuff.
I see. Yeah.
So, Lorville Redux. I think this was the worst of the panels. I'm sorry. I very much disliked it. I didn't see a point of it. It's great that Lorville's getting a rework, but it's not a CitizenCon panel. I'm sorry. It's just not.
That's basically how I felt about I agree. I felt the same way as I felt about the first one, where it just felt like an ISC thing.
Yeah.
Lorville needed to be redone. It looks like they're doing a good job redoing it. It looks good. Thumbs up. But
not CitizenCon.
No, it was not particularly spellbinding.
Yeah. The next one was fairly spellbinding. Power Play.
Shiver's favorite.
Yeah, and I haven't even fucking watched it. Tell me about this Power Play.
Resources. It works in the game right now. It's got some temporary graphics and such, but they were doing things like showing that you can sneak onto somebody's ship and like rip the fuses out of their relays, and all of a sudden their ship shuts down. Fun stuff like that. But yeah, they were showing it working. I really loved that they kind of mentioned this later, so I'm just sort of tying in something that was later on. But they showed the new minimap for the ships, and they also talked about how the relays and such will be like overlaid on that, so that'll be really cool. Also, the mini maps are amazing, and they just pull them basically directly. They just basically use the model of the ship that they already have in the game, and they put it like a custom mesh over top of it, which is pretty cool.
Power Play was really good. It's still very early, especially with the like UI work is very temporary, but it also shows just such huge potential for finally getting multi-crew gameplay. I guess my thing, I sort of thought it would be further along and have more. Like, they showed us a bit on fuses, but I don't know. I would have liked to see, and I guess it depends on what they've got in. But
they showed fuses, they showed and they showed power, they showed fire, and they showed atmosphere, and how they all are working. And also how you can control these things just from panels, and it will affect other places.
Yeah, and it's I think part of the problem is there's so many connected things to that, because like just swapping out fuses is fine, but are there ways around that? Can you pair it? I guess we're all gonna have to have like boxes full of fuses in the back just in case, like.
Well, I would hope you would. You're running a starship. Come on.
Anyway, this is another one of
I'm running it
I-
with no spare parts, baby.
but that's going to
I
be
can't hit
interesting 'cause-
quantum. We got no fuses left.
But that's really interesting because I don't think we really think of that of like, yes, you're going to have an engineer, but that engineer is going to have spare parts. So you're
Yep.
going to have a quartermaster, maybe it's the engineer as well, but like someone that makes sure that your ship has the right quantity of spare parts, but all those spare parts are going to be taking up actual cargo room in your cargo hold, so you can't have two, like there's just insane amounts of everything there. I think my thing with this is they still have so much work to get this working on all of the ships in the game. Like,
I mean,
Scott has raised a good point of can the engineer create the spare parts? And I wonder if not quite create the spare parts, maybe, probably, but also if he's got a set amount of spare parts, swap them out, and then repair the broken one, refusing, if you will.
I think what we're going to see, based on what they've also talked about with survival happening, is 3D printing of parts.
that'd be cool.
You're going to want to have a 3D printer. If you crash land, you pull it out, you go find material for it, it breaks down the material,
That'd
and
be
you can
smart.
slowly 3D print your parts. That's honestly the only way I can see them doing this. But it makes
That's
sense.
basically what the Pioneer is, isn't it? It's a fucking huge 3D printer for habitation modules. So yeah.
For habitation, yeah.
And
And you're going to want...
Sargeras is dead on. You will always need
Duct
duct
tape.
tape.
And duct tape. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Always.
Some things are just science fact.
You know, part of it's gonna be like, oh, you need to go mine that ore in the ground so you have enough resources to repair your ship, and you need duct tape. Can't make duct tape. It just sort of grows out of the ground. So
Yes, but why is it called duct tape? Is it because it's used on ducks?
no. I actually heard a thing about this recently where it's just like can't remember now. But it's not anything you would normally think of. It's just the misuse of a word, basically.
It's not because it's used on ducts, even
Nope.
though it is great for ducts.
It's also not named duct tape, like DUCK either. It's like that, and
Yeah.
it wasn't because it was waterproof. None of those things are true. It's because we screwed up English at one point.
Do you know what the duck said when he actually did buy some duct tape?
Why is this named after me?
Put it on my
Quack.
bill.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, poor duck has a broken bill. Jeez,
All right.
He was driving
All
in
right.
quackers.
I'm sure. I'm sure. So
Such an innocent joke. I'm
touch
sorry.
on this. I have to touch on this. I gotta touch on this. It was so much fun. I can't remember his name now. I know his name. Can't remember right now. But the guy who's running us through suffocating the player over and over and over and over and over and over and over again in different ways. Like using fire to rip all the oxygen out of a room.
Yep.
That was fun. His little like grin and giggle when he's killing the player was pretty fun. But no, I love that they are going to that level where your player will stop being able to breathe because there's no oxygen left in the room. The fire took it all. Yeah, there's a lot of really neat bits and pieces of this coming.
Okay, the last of the like listed panels. Talking ship. I did not see a point to this panel. I was really disappointed in it. They talked about the Corsair, which, sorry, I love it. I own one. I'm really excited for it, but we've already seen it. You had an entire ISC episode devoted solely to the Corsair. We didn't need to see it again. You talked about the little tiny gray cat buggy thing. Really cute. And you talked about...
also, not a ship.
Also not a ship. That's true. And there was one more. They talked about one other. Oh,
Was the Spirit?
the Spirit. The Spirit, which you've announced and you're selling, and it looks great. I bought one. I can't wait for the Spirit. But I really, really thought that we'd get something more about other ships. I don't know why they focused on just 3 ships instead of talking about any of the other ships in development. We haven't seen the Banu Merchantman in months. And they showed us a fair bit of gray box of it. Where was that? Like, I was disappointed that it just, why did you just show these 3 when we've seen one of them? One's a tiny buggy and the other one, okay, yeah, the Spirit's pretty good, I like that, but like,
there's also a major drawback with the new ship.
What's that?
You can't take it through drive-through liquor stores because they don't like to serve spirits.
Hang on.
I
hang
put
on.
them both. Oh,
hang
yeah.
on. Hang on. Drive-through liquor store?
I'm sure that's a thing. Don't tell me that's not a thing. That has to be. There are drive-through banks.
It's definitely
There are
a thing in the
drive-through
United States.
pizza places.
But
It
the
has
US
to be a
does
thing.
everything, so the US sells guns to convenience stores, so I'm sure
Yeah.
they have liquor drive-throughs. Just not in Utah.
There you go. Drive-through liquor stores in Wyoming. Thank you, Sagareth.
There you go. Perfect.
Why? Is it
Oh,
that
dang.
hard?
Well, so you don't have to get out of your vehicle, David.
That
That's
way, when
true,
you
it's
drink
very-
and drive, you don't spill it. Don't drink and drive, by the way. That was a joke for comedic purposes. Don't actually drink and drive.
Yes,
Please
do
don't.
not do that.
Unless
so,
you're drinking like a Coke or something, then it's fine. Just don't drink alcohol and drive. I feel like
I have no disagreements with David on this panel. I liked the ships, and I thought the conversation was interesting. I like the little vehicles, and they're redoing the PTV and so on and so forth. But there are some ships that they haven't talked about in like 5 years, so it would have been good to like talk about them.
it would have been good to get a rundown of the ships and where they're at. Even if where they're at is
all of the incomplete ships.
Yeah, here's the list of ships we have told you about. Here's where they're at. Even if where they're at is not yet in development, fine. That's great. I don't care. Just do a rundown of like Endeavor, not in development. Banu Merchantman in Greybox. Here's some fun pictures. Freelancer, never getting an update because we hate fun and also David. Constellation, never getting an update because it sucks.
Yeah, but then the problem is, if they did that, a different group of people are going to be pissed off because it's like, oh, my favorite ship isn't being worked on, it's been forgotten. Why is the Genesis Starliner backwards?
Why is it backwards? I've been
Totally
asking that
should
since
fucking other way.
I have been asking that since the second they unveiled it. That ship should be backwards.
The real answer is they put it that way to bug you.
Yeah, but it looks dumb.
Well,
if they had flipped that around, they would have sold. It's one of the least selling ships of Star Citizen. But if they had flipped that around the way it should have been, I bet you anything it would have sold.
I find it really weird though because it's technically it's the least interesting ship in many ways. It's a glorified taxi. But the gameplay that if they're still sticking with that whatever it's called,
Mixmaster.
The gameplay that's associated with it, of like serving customers and drinks and things, that's fucking interesting gameplay in a unique way. I'm kind of intrigued about, that I'd like to see or do, just because that's fucking unique. I wouldn't play Tapper in a spaceship, basically.
I agree with you 100%.
There are a lot of games out there where that is the goal. They're just tapping into that market.
Yep, they're tapping into every single market.
Pretty much. What can you do in Star Citizen? Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so I want to move us on now to the
Sorry, Parker.
like 2-hour rant from Chris and
I was astonished that you didn't like this because you've been asking to see Chris for like years.
I've been asking to see Chris. I really liked some of the things that were shown. Like they showed off the AI stuff. Loved seeing that. It was great. But show us a bit more. Like they showed us some sections of like Squadron 42. It's just my problem with it was like they talked so much and quite frankly showed so little. You're talking about all this stuff and just, you know what? Just show us a section of Squadron, because all they kept saying the entire section was, well, you know, we're working on this for Squadron and it's going really well, but we're not going to show it. Like, no, stop saying that shit. You've been saying it for 5 years at this point. Just show us a bloody section. Show us a section we've already seen. Like, haven't we seen an entire gameplay section where you break into like a building to rescue some girl, and you're and they even showed it to us where you go loud or you go stealth, and then you rescue her at the end. Show us that section again with the new AI that you've got. Highlight it through, like, just do that. I find it so friggin' dumb that they refuse to. I'm sorry.
But, I mean,
I'm sorry.
Yes, but also no, but also yes. I don't know. They've got a. It's still under construction. It's like, let's say you've got a car that's being made. Okay, the brake system will work, but you can't put the brakes in and show off how well the brakes work until the car has got an engine in it that's fully functioning with all the fucking other parts of the engine, so the car go now, and then you can see it stop. But they've also, when it comes, but that doesn't. They had to prep that small section of game, make sure that game section itself worked. Like, it had to fucking work, because if there was one small error, everyone's going to jump on that and say, oh, this project's fucking doomed. They can't even pull a small bit out of the game. It's completely fucked.
But it wasn't even
there's
live.
A lot of
they
prep.
were showing...
They can't...
Hang on, though, Shiver, because it wasn't even live. They were showing pre-recorded segments. You're telling me that
they still had to take that segment out. What you're thinking... When you bake a cake, right? You've got the cake mix, and then you put it in the oven, and then you take it out of the oven after X amount of time, and it's done. What they're doing is the cake is being made. If they take this small slice away, then just bake this very small slice of cake, they've still got to bake fully this slice of cake. They've still got to create this small slice of the game to make sure it works the way it's supposed to work. It's still a bit of time to do that. Right, but at the same time, as a backer, yeah, I want to fucking see it. But at the same time, I can also see why they didn't, because if that fucked up,
have they not?
And it is an investment of resources and time that's got to be spent making this thing to get it out and show it off.
What? Like, I don't know. I know.
Don't see why they wouldn't do it.
Don't sit there and tell us about how good it is, but you're not going to show it to us.
Yeah, you're right. You are right.
Don't sit there and dangle that. I'm sorry. Just don't.
You're right.
I didn't think they did a lot of that. There was a lot of things where they're like, well, they weren't like, oh, it's amazing. They were like, well, we're working on it. It's like broken and lots of it doesn't work right now, but this is what we're gonna do. With the AIs and with the locomotion, they're like, you can see what we're trying to do here. It kind of doesn't perfectly work right now because the animations don't work. But like there's a lot of things that are not currently fully implemented.
And I can absolutely 100% agree with you, Eris. Don't keep teasing a thing and not following through and showing it. You are absolutely right. But at the same time, what Eric said is absolutely right. If they'd have shown off what they have right now and it's completely balked and broken, then we'd be sat here going, oh, well, this is fucked after 10 years. There's fuck all going on here. It's still completely broken. They can't even make a character walk right. No matter what they do, they're fucked. They're damned and judged badly, no matter what they do, until they've got a fully released product that's out there. And even then, even if it's the greatest game ever since Pac-Man, that's a joke. There's always going to be someone who complains.
I really wanted, in that like 2 hours of Chris talking, a little more show and a little less talking. It was a little too.
What specific parts did you want to see more about?
Okay, so they showed us
Melissa Estrada.
There it is. They showed us there was a section where they're in the station and there's some guards walking, right?
Yep.
And they're showing the guards react to stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even just extend that a little bit. Like because they stopped before the guards find anyone. They stopped, like they didn't show you shoot, like they didn't show very much. Like it was very constrained. Like I don't know.
That's not what they were. Not what they were trying to show. They were showing that the guards do investigate things.
I know, but show
it wasn't.
But why? Like I think my problem was like they showed just enough to make their point and nothing else. And I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that. I'm sorry. I didn't like that. And maybe this is just me, but and you know what? I'm sorry. I've come to expect something from Chris at Citizen Cons. Whether it is, and you know what? I'm sorry, but a couple of years ago at Citizen Con, they tried to drive a Jeep onto an Idris and the entire fucking thing blew up. So they reset it and ran again live. And it was the greatest fucking thing we'd ever seen.
Hey. The greatest thing we've ever fucking seen is Helmet.
Okay, fine. Second grade. But, like, why? I don't know. I felt it was really constrained and really not showing us what's going on in the project, and I don't like that.
I think the truth of the matter is that they did not want to, and part of it also ties into why they didn't do an in-person one this year. They talked a little bit about this a while ago, but I don't think they wanted to spend, and you saw it throughout the whole Citizen Con, they didn't want to spend a lot of resources from developers to do this. And a lot of previous Citizen Cons have had months of the developers are making the Citizen Con presentation. That is what they are doing. They are not working on the rest of the game. And so I think that they're at a point right now where that just isn't something they wanted to do. That's my feeling from it. I kind of just I like this section, and I kind of just enjoyed hearing from Chris again and how excited he is about everything, because he's so excited about everything.
So in
a way, it's a good sign, because previous Citizen Cons, they did do this stuff because it was a lot easier, because they had just testing environments where they could literally say, all right, this testing environment that we're using every day, let's just broadcast that. That doesn't need to do anything, it's just done. Whereas now that they're beyond that stage in many areas, not fully of course, it's a lot harder to just say, can we just pull this small section out? Well, no, because it's reliant on X, Y, and Z that's tied in with C, B, and A.
Right now. We can't pull something out.
Yeah, it's working on tender hooks right now. If we pull something out, we don't know what's going to fall off. But we could set this little bit up that we've been using for testing. It gets to this point, and it's better than a kick in the nuts.
And I don't think you're wrong, David. Because you can't be wrong.
Yeah, you're not.
You didn't. You didn't. You thought they should have showed more.
Yeah.
Hang on. So look, because I love Jake, and I love that the roadmap exists, but I still don't understand how the fuck it works with upstream and downstream shit. I hate it. But like, I'm looking at the roadmap now. Like, it maybe I'm wrong here, but it looks like Chapter 13 is done.
No, it doesn't.
That's not quite that easy.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
That's not what that roadmap shows. It shows you that they are not working on it right now.
Okay, but I don't know. Is any of it done?
Yes.
Okay, then
bits and pieces we've heard.
But you,
The
that's
level
that's like saying, okay.
The level.
Sorry,
is
Eric, go on.
done. The level is. There are levels that are done. It's like having like World of Warcraft before it came out. There was a thing where the game leaked and you could launch your own server and you could go into it, and you were in the game world, but there was nothing in it. There was no game. There were no quests. There was no NPCs. There was nothing to do.
I'm
Just
so
like you might have level 4 out of whatever done, but let's say it's like a computer. That's like saying the motherboard North Bridge is complete. Therefore, we should be able to see how the North Bridge works on the. Well, no, because the rest of the connecting points aren't completely.
I think that's
ready
basically
yet, so...
where they ended up. Is that they
and
yeah,
it was too hard.
And we're not
to
trying to poo-poo your opinion, Eris, whatsoever. You are, as a backer, I completely agree with you. But I can also see why they wouldn't do it. Why it wouldn't just be that easy.
And I disagree. Like I hate to
fair.
say it, but I disagree with that analysis of,
That's fair.
some parts aren't working, some things they have shown us shit not working for years.
That's fair. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They
You're
they haven't been that excited about showing us Squadron not working in a very long time though.
I know, but they haven't been excited about showing anything about Squadron in a very long time. And but
yeah,
but I think
they're
but hang
looking
on.
for
No, hang on, because I think my problem with this year is not only did they not show very much from Squadron, they didn't really show anything. They sort of just dribbled it out and teased it, but they didn't really show, honestly, very much from, I know, Shiver, but they didn't really show very much from Star Citizen either.
You know why? They talked about this 6 months ago. They told us they weren't going to. It was you talk about messaging all the time and how you have to message ahead of time. They talked about this. We're going into a rough patch. We have to do the server stuff. It's gonna suck. It's gonna take a long time. It's not gonna go very well. It's gonna be difficult. And here we are. We're in the middle of it.
I still
and it's not
I
going.
don't know. I still think they could have shown us something else. Show off some of the ships, show off some of the outposts. I think it was just.
They could have.
I think at the end of the show, with a lot of not seeing very much, 2 hours of Chris talking to only show like 5 minutes worth of footage, I think it just grated me the wrong way. Like yeah. But that's me.
That's absolutely fair.
Yeah.
You're entitled to your wrong opinion.
There's no. There's what was I gonna say? There were definitely spots where I would have liked to see more. They talked a lot about AI and explained what the deal is there. At least they did show some stuff about AI.
My thing is, I loved what they showed. It looked so good. I'm excited for it. Like, really excited. Like, I love FPSs, and one of the worst things in FPSs is that the AI is so fucking dumb. And they showed some AI that look really good. And I just, like, you can't show me 2 minutes of that and then take it away for another 2 years. Stop. No. Like,
I mean, it might not be. They might be just so close to getting the next stage out, which ties in with ISC this week as well, that maybe it's not as far away as, we're used to thinking.
I hope. Anyway, sorry, go ahead, Eric. I cut you off.
No, and I don't necessarily disagree with anything you're saying. And because but I just personally, me watching CitizenCon, I enjoyed watching it and I had fun listening to Chris, and I didn't have any particular issues with any of it. I called out the problems I had with it before. I haven't heard Chris talk for 2 hours straight in 10 years. No, maybe not 10 years. Sorry, 5 years probably. He doesn't do a lot of that type of thing anymore.
No, hang on. I do have a reason that this was a terrible CitizenCon. Objectively bad.
Melissa Estrada wasn't on there.
No, that's
You're
Shivers
damn
reason.
right.
That's Shivers reason. No Tony Zurvek.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know,
Very different people. Very different.
Tony Zurvek needed to. Well, it shouldn't say he did need to be there. I have a suspicion that he was supposed to do something for this, but
It
because
wasn't
he
ready.
always does. Because he
Yeah.
always does. But it just missed, and you know that may have also been part of why Chris talked for 2 hours because they had another thing that they were going to show and they couldn't. But yeah, I'm really
I will-
hoping
I-
to see more from Tony after the
Yeah.
servers are up and running.
I will say it was very weird messaging of like CitizenCon will run anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, which like that, and that's what they were saying the day of CitizenCon, which sort of let me think that they don't really know what they're showing.
Oh, they were freestyling with Chris, 100%.
Yeah,
It was very
Yeah.
evident.
Yeah.
We Shiver, have you seen the mini map stuff? It looks really cool.
I have.
It's like in the middle of that 2 hours. It was neat.
I'll be right back.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It was last couple of months have just sort of been hell.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. Hell isn't that much fun.
It's not. It's not.
No. Right.
But yeah, I mean, if that's how it is with Tony Z at the moment, then maybe if there's a Christmas thing or the next big stream, they'll finally be able to pull him away from working and have him talk about stuff. But he has got a lot on his plate.
I'm pulling a clip out of this show here. There we go. Clip. I'm clipping YouTube live.
But out of everyone that's watching, the three of you watching, it's gone up. What did you think of CitizenCon overall this year? Was it let down? Was it all right? Or are you just as pissed off as Eris is about the freelancer? Let us know in about 30 seconds when you hear this message.
Look, the
We'll sit here
freelancer
in
is the
awkward
ship.
silence until then.
The freelancer is the ship in Star Citizen that needs a rework the most.
And
Period.
if you want to expand on your answer, by the way, just go for it. Feel free. This is a safe place.
Well, I think we should probably move on to talking about ISC this week because
Yeah,
we're
I
almost
agree.
done. So, but do tell us what you thought of CitizenCon because I'm genuinely interested to know. Yeah.
You know, I think they're taking advantage of COVID, taking advantage of the fact that they can do these things a bit smaller now until they're ready to say, okay, Squadron 42, we're ready to start announcing this. We're going to start the hype train here at CitizenCon this year. Wha-boom!
My problem with that was I think like last year's was one of my favorite CitizenCons because they were able to put so much more time and so much more polish and get the videos done right. And like I liked the amount of, and I know that took probably a ton of work and too much work and too much time, but I liked their last COVID CitizenCon. It was well produced, which
Yep.
I like. Like I like that organization and like pretty graphics and show us what's going on, you know?
There's some really interesting answers coming up in the chat, and I'm liking the
Yeah.
development on it. We've got, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, there's very much two camps for Squadron 42 of, I want it, where is it? And, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait for Squadron. I just
Yeah.
I don't want it to. After
Fall
this much
flat.
time, it needs to blow my mind, which I think it will. But that means that they need to take as much time as they need.
I mean, it's still, we haven't had a game that is like Squadron 42 still for quite some time.
I don't think anything's
The
gonna be
closest
the
I can think
same.
of is that Star Wars one, which was a little bit more arcadey.
So
X-Wing. It was a
Harris
remake of X-Wing, wasn't it?
Harrison Jones, maybe IE will be much better than Citizen Con. I don't like IAE. I don't like that IAE is so close to Citizen Con and seems to take a lot of content, especially about the ships, away from the Citizen Con. I think IAE is placed in the wrong spot in the year. But
Yeah, it's not gonna
Yeah.
move.
I know
there.
it's not. I just
It's there for reasons.
I'm pretty ambivalent about IAE. I like Citizen Con. Anyway, I mean, I hope they make a ton of money and hit 150 million this year to match my prediction. I've actually spent money on it this year, but you know, okay. I want to say I really liked the this like organization they have for developing the facilities for like what's being worked on and what size everything is and what how much work it needs and how much time it's going to take them. Like really, they're really well organized, and I really like that. It makes me feel a little bit better about what's happening. So
Hmm. Well, and as they said, they have plans and numbers and calculations and stuff about everything, and then
they all change.
game development is game development, and it doesn't go that way.
Yeah. Um, I like the progress they're making on the giant facilities. They look good.
Oh yeah.
They're early, but like that view right there that you're going to see in a couple minutes is spectacular. Of like you're going to fly in on this giant monolith. It looks kind of like the main tower in Lorville, just scaled down, but it's still like
Hmm.
this hulking thing coming out that I really like. I like a lot of the design language that they've got in this. I want to see more about what's going to be done in it, but good.
Yeah, I
More
really like these. The only thing that really annoyed me, and this is during the CitizenCon presentation, but they misspelled bearing in one of the
Yes,
they
thank
did.
you.
I know.
drove me fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we were yelling at that on
Hey, there it
screen.
is.
Yeah.
You can see it in that shot.
No,
Oh,
there's one shot where they've got it two different spellings on two different parts of the
Well,
same building in the same shot.
Yep.
Yep.
that shot they just went by. Yeah.
I mean, I remember Darj and I
Oh,
yelling about that.
brutal.
But this, like, I really like that, like, the organization by per room basis, and it sort of sounds like they're going to be able to sort of mix and match those rooms and place them
Yeah.
wherever they need to make different layouts of the complex, which excellent. It's good. I like that they take this into account early in the process. This sort of showed that I don't think we've gotten a look like this into their process in a long time, and it shows that it's definitely evolved from the last time they showed it, and that it's organized enough that it's giving me some faith that they are going to be able to make a lot of content relatively easily, in that
Mhm.
every room that they use can be used in a different spot in a different layout. Like they're just going to be able to mix and match and then fill and
And then not
Well,
only
with,
the mix and match, but also the overlays on top of everything as well. So you can have the same layout, but with like different set dressing and lighting, and it would look totally different, which is cool.
with this much organization and this much information on each layout, right down to design specifications and measurements, they can automate it. They can have it procedure
Mhm.
generated, and it will be.
I'm sure that
it's
I'm
quite
100%
reliable.
sure that is the goal.
Yeah, and then like you're saying, it's going to be able to help them churn it out a lot quicker.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, let me find the next one. All right. They talked a lot about Gen 12 renderer today,
Yep.
like a lot. And man, it sounds like if they pull it off, when they pull it off,
Well,
because it sounds like they're
basically
close.
there. Yeah, they're almost there.
Yeah, they've got
Well,
bits staying already.
to the point where they're saying
It
they
might
will
be in the
have
next patch.
probably converted everything to Gen 12 by the next patch in
Yeah.
December.
Yeah, which is huge.
I also
like-
would like that they finally explained why they called it Gen 12, because it's not really DirectX 12. They're like,
Yeah.
they're like, well,
I
it's
always-
one after DirectX 11. We just called it Gen 12.
I always thought it was because it was based on Vulkan 1.2.
Well,
Yeah,
hey, there you go. That would be. A good reason.
I agree, Miami. Like this was a really good update. I'm honestly, and it must have just been timing. I think they actually recorded CitizenCon fairly early this year, but like I'm surprised that this update wasn't in CitizenCon.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
I think
Like-
I think this is another one where they weren't ready to talk about
Yeah.
it yet in early September when they did CitizenCon. So obviously huge, and I love that they showed their work here, like that they showed that Gen 12 has lower API calls than than the Gen 11.
It's not just lower draw calls. It's like
40% lower.
15,000 draw calls lower.
Yeah.
Like they're showing
It's
it
a lot.
here, it's at like 40, 46, 47,000 draw calls.
47,000 down to 32,000.
And it went down to
Down
32.
to 30. Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
that's huge. That's
Massive
a quarter. That is a quarter of your draw calls reduced.
Yeah,
Like-
it was a big deal.
And that's just on this implementation. Like they haven't even
Oh, yeah.
implemented Vulkan, right? Like
They're like, well, not only not Vulkan, they're like, okay, so all we're doing right now is converting all of the graphics features over to use the new renderer. There
Yeah.
is no optimization whatsoever. None.
Yeah.
So they're like, this is it without any optimization done at all, and it's without Vulkan working.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
It's
So
huge.
already
It's
huge.
not even utilizing full multi-core kind of thing at this point, and this is it's quite significant.
That's one of the things they're talking about is like after they get the Gen 12 renderer in, then they're working on Vulkan and removing the render thread and going full multi-threaded rendering. You can use every core.
It does sound, especially this is really neat because they show you they show on a per frame basis
Mhm.
like where currently you are, like it's CPU bound. The render thread is taking
Too long. For
Too
every
long.
frame, it's taking too long.
for every single frame. It takes too long. Whereas, and they're actually, I mean, they're pulling it up right now.
Yeah, and you can even see it from the high level graph that the Gen 12 ones are all the render thread is finishing way before the main thread.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Then
So the
you're-
render thread is there on the bottom, and it's going right to the very end.
Just to reiterate as well that if you're playing this at insane resolutions,
yes,
like some of us, then it does rely more on your GPU because higher resolution than your CPU.
Yeah.
So bear that in mind as well.
Thing is, this means that we will be able to be GPU bound, whereas before everyone's CPU bound. Now we have the luxury of being GPU bound. Luxury.
Yeah, great.
yeah.
4090s for everyone. Get fire extinguishers ready.
Yeah, put a little sprinkler inside your computer. Wait, don't do that. Yeah, so this is a big deal, obviously. They've been working on this for years, and yes, it is years of work to rebuild a renderer from the ground up. They rewrote the whole thing from scratch. And they will be using, sounds they keep dodging this, but it sounds like they're going to exclusively use Vulkan as
Yeah.
their API, which makes sense because they can, Vulkan can be run on a toaster if you want. It can be run on anything, and then of course once they get all this out, they were talking about how they can then go on to doing things like ray tracing, AI enhanced upscaling, and VR, as well as Linux support as well. So there's a lot of graphics features coming down the pipe. These folks are going to be busy for a long time.
And for those 10 people, yes, this does mean it will run on Windows 7. There's always someone. There is always someone. Any new game that's coming out and it says Windows 10 Plus only, will this run on Windows 7?
Yeah, and Harrison Jones, you're right. Like, this will allow more entities on screen for us.
It will run on Windows NT, yes.
The thing actually is, it's going to be the combination, right? Because PES and server meshing are going to allow more entities server side, and then Gen 12 Vulkan that will allow more entities player side, and you're finally like. We have known for a long time.
Game world that actually runs well.
Well, and we've known for a long time that hopefully, but we've known for a long time that there's a lot of stuff, even in Star Citizen right now, that I mean, there's a reason the AI will stand around in stations on a slightly old server. It's server side crap, right? Like the servers are
6 frames a second on the server.
Yeah, like the servers are having some problems, right?
Yeah.
So, but again, like with server meshing and PES and Gen 12, like all of this stuff is coming in the near-ish future.
Yeah. And
it honestly should all completely change how the game plays. And good God, you are not
this time next year the game should be like markedly different in terms of how it runs and how it plays.
And be very fucking careful when you go into bunkers when AI works.
Ooh, yep. I've had a few of those moments where I'm on a fresh server, the AI's working properly, and Chris talked about this where he went home and was playing single player on the Squadron, and he was trying to do some of the levels, and he's like, it's Dark Souls hard. It's Souls-like hard.
Yeah.
Trying to get through those AI.
Okay, what else do we have?
It's kind of hard to dial. I mean, it's not hard, but it's easy to make AI really good. In terms of their ability to kill you. You have to kind of program in some fudge so that they don't always hit you.
It's exciting stuff, and I said to these two as well before we went live that AMD users, both GPU and CPU, will be laughing with Vulkan fully rendered because, in case you don't know, Vulkan is based on Mantle, which was made by AMD. Vulkan is made by AMD. It's open source and nice.
I was actually thinking about that earlier today. Is that Star Citizen CIG made an announcement a long time ago that they were converting to Mantle. This gives you an idea of how long it's taken. It's not Mantle anymore; it's Vulkan. They're now very close to the end of that work, and should end up with an engine that has way more access to the resources of the computer than the CryEngine does. So,
yeah, Vulkan is extremely efficient at using your hardware in an efficient manner rather than just Vulkan brute force this. It's a very elegant solution.
I'm curious to see how much the 3D V-Cache on AMD continues to help, because I was amazed at how much it helped people. Go ahead.
I heard rumor That it was way beyond my knowledge, and I don't know if it's at all true, because it's literally just people on the internet talking. That the second issue AMD GPUs, the current ones are sort of scaled down slightly because they want to do a new release afterwards with 3D cache on the GPUs.
Ooh, wow.
I don't know if that would actually do anything or not.
I have no idea, except give them a crap ton of cash, but I don't know what that does for a GPU.
Yeah, for the GPU, I don't know.
But I do know that right now, if you have a 5800X 3D, you can get like 200 frames a second in Star Citizen at 1080p. So, because it's particularly friendly to that hardware.
But it's not just to clarify, it's not a universal thing. Not every single game benefits from the extra 3D cache.
A lot of them do, but a lot of them don't.
Yeah.
It's just
Join us for the biggest Whitley's Guide IAE special yet.
It's not going to
with exclusive looks at all
but
your
there are
favorite
games where
manufacturers.
there are
Great
games
CEO
that need
and
the
an
cache,
Arden.
and
Plus,
it
surprises
should
and announcements
load
you won't want to miss. We'll see you there.
I think that was a very nice surprise for the people who bought one to play Star Citizen.
Join us for the biggest
So,
Whitley's Guide
there's a
IAE
quick little
special
clip
yet,
here.
with
IAE
exclusive
is
looks
coming.
at all your favorite manufacturers.
It is.
Drake CEO and an Arden.
You should be more
Should be.
excited.
Plus, surprises and announcements you won't want to miss. We'll see you there.
I'm actually excited for one thing because they have said that in the IAE patch, the Corsair is coming, and I've got one. And I'm really
Join us
excited
for the
to,
biggest
fly
Whitley's
around
Guide
the Corsair.
IAE special yet, with exclusive looks at all your
Jackson
favorite
Berry's
manufacturers.
dead. Wow.
Drake
Yeah,
CEO
there's
and an Arden.
some. I wonder
Plus,
what that
surprises
looks
and
about.
announcements you won't.
I
wanna
think they were
miss.
trying to
We'll see
because
you
last year
there.
he just flew off, didn't he, into the unknown.
He flew
Yeah.
off into Pyro, didn't he?
And I
Yeah.
suppose our takeaway was meant to be, oh, he's dead
Join
now.
us for the biggest
and it
Whitley's
wasn't
Guide
really sunk
IAE
in,
special
so
yet,
they're trying to
with
remind everyone he's
exclusive looks at
dead.
all your
So when we
favorite
do big reveal that
manufacturers.
he's alive, you're all going to be
Drake
surprised,
CEO
right?
and an
Right?
Arden.
Right?
Plus, surprises and announcements you won't want to miss.
I hope so.
We'll
That'd
see
be good.
you
Be
there.
like, wait a second, are you? He'll be like, he'll have this little like shack made up on some planet where he's crashed his
Join
ship.
us for the biggest Whitley's
Yeah.
Guide
Living on,
IAE
like,
special yet.
Videos
with
too loud.
exclusive looks
Oh,
at
is the
all
vid-
your favorite
Oh,
manufacturers.
I didn't actually realize. I'm sorry. I didn't actually
shit.
realize.
We just told everyone the release date.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't actually know that the video was playing music. My apologies. I'm sorry.
You know, we do our best.
Look,
Steven does a
I'm
good
not
job.
very good. I do not. I do not do
He's
a
not
good job.
professional, but he is professional.
I do an job.
Okay.
All right. With that, we have hit
no.
the end of our show.
We have.
So, first things first. I'm really hoping that this Tuesday we're gonna play some Star Citizen. I wanted to tonight, but we had so much to cover that we didn't. So, join us at
be
this
there.
same time Tuesday to play some Star Citizen, and then next Saturday to do more of whatever the hell this is. But but before I let any of you go, there is something else that's happening tomorrow. So Shiver, did you want to talk about that for a moment, or do you want me to play the teaser thing? What's happening?
Play the teaser
What
thing.
do I-
It's more dramatically appropriate. I
Okay.
think. I hope.
Does it have sound?
It does. It does.
Okay, I'm
I
gonna turn on
is
the sound for it.
professional when I made this.
The sound is working. So you have to tell me if it is or isn't.
Are you reading us? Repeat. Research Station Ares is compromised. There's only a
The
few of
sound
us
is
left.
working.
Chief Scientist McKenzie has locked down the facility.
Hey,
ever
that
since
says
the break.
relay.
I know. I'm 42.
We've been locked out with the rest of the facility.
Amazing.
The security forces will
And
wipe out
Omicron,
the
apparently.
Jones left. We need an immediate extraction. Oh God, what is happening? They've broken in.
All right.
Shit, that looks professional, doesn't it?
Looks really good.
At least at the end.
So-
yeah, 31st.
It's tomorrow.
What? midnight UTC. Still playing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Tomorrow, I believe it's tomorrow 2 hours ago. So 22 hours from now, if my math is right.
Yes. Roughly, yeah.
22 hours from now, I'm on this.
You are. We've got quite a menagerie of people for this. It's going to be interesting. It's a menagerie. They're all caged as well.
Are we going to
I hope
have?
you get that
Are we going to have
reference,
a
Eric.
menage a me?
Yes.
Sweet.
This is the first of our 2 Aliens games for Halloween, starring Eris Sanchez and a host of other people. Some faces you'll recognize, some faces you haven't seen. Yeah, it's going to be fun. My aim is for them to not survive. Wish me luck. And then
Good
the day
luck,
after we
Shiv.
have another
Kill 'em
Aliens
good.
game. Thank you. And then we have
So,
another Aliens game after the day after as well. And it's taken me 2 months to prepare all these.
So come watch those twitch.tv/Table of Horrors. It's right there. Because it's going to be fun. And you can watch me
Yeah.
play a game system that I've never played before. But I'm going to do my best.
System is dirt easy. And I've made it even easier for you as well because yeah, I have issues. I made lots of macros and sound effects. And yeah.
Fantastic.
You
I'm
have to.
excited.
But I
Amazing.
did.
Please join us. It's going to be a great pre and post Halloween extravaganza. So yeah, thank you everyone for showing up and watching us and listening to me rant, and I apologize. And 22 hours from now, Malkiri. I think that's what it's 22 hours from now.
So tomorrow, but 2 hours
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
I mean, I think it starts half hour before this show starts, but tomorrow.
Yep. That makes sense.
Yep. So hopefully,
Yes.
I really hope you can join and watch that. And thanks as always to all of you for showing up and putting up with
Thanks,
us
everybody.
and watching. And it honestly, Eric, Shiver, thank you both for coming back and continuing to put up with me and doing this for the last
I'm sorry you had to do
7
not
years.
alone. Or somewhat alone.
Well, he
I
had
no,
Darsh
I
at
had
least.
Darsh.
Yeah,
I had
yeah,
Darsh,
Darsh.
and I'm very glad I had
Right.
Darsh
Without me.
because
That's what I meant.
yeah, it's without you two, but I did have Darsh, and unfortunately we had
Thank you,
like,
Darge.
just the worst bloody technical problems during that day. Like we lost the stream
I heard.
87 times. It was, I think that probably also like colored my opinion of Citizen Comics. I was just having a shit day.
You must have been
But-
probably coming down with COVID at that point as well, and feeling symptoms, which probably didn't
No.
make you feel great.
Not too
No,
long ago.
no,
That was,
I wasn't
Well,
COVID,
okay.
but Cass had hurt her neck and couldn't move. So I was having anxiety because she was upstairs stuck with Link and like lying in bed and couldn't move and couldn't help. And it was just rough. It was just rough. And
You did not play that situation right. You're meant to be all like, right, she can't move. I'm going out.
all right. Have a great night, everyone. Stay safe. And always remember the earth is burning, and we have to start turning that around if we want any hope of the human race to survive. So